still quiet and asked yourself, why am I here? What truly makes me want to wake up tomorrow? This isn't a question of success or fame, not of followers, likes, or bank accounts. It's deeper, quieter, something soft, like the steam rising from your first cup of tea. Something gentle, like the whisper of wind through a cherry blossom tree. This is the question of Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a longer, calmer, and more meaningful life. In Okinawa, a serene island in Japan, known for having the highest number of centenarians on Earth, people live with ease, with joy, with purpose. They don't chase wealth. They don't race against time. They wake up with intention, with Ikigai. This video is not just a summary. It's an invitation to step into a space of peace, to slow down the noise, to breathe, and to reflect on your own unique reason for being. So find a cozy place, dim the lights, wrap yourself in a blanket or in stillness, and allow yourself to drift into meaning. You don't need to take notes. You don't need to remember every word. Just listen, absorb. Let this moment be your own. Because sometimes it's not the answers we're missing, but the space to ask the right questions. What if I told you your Ikigai is not something you need to go out and find, but something that's already within you, quietly waiting to be seen? This is your time, not to perform, not to prove, but simply to be. To begin this journey, we'll start where all purpose begins, not with action, but with awareness. Stay with me. Let's explore the story of Okinawa and the secret rhythms of a life lived with calm clarity. Chapter 1 begins now. The island of longevity, Okinawa's secret. Far out in the East China Sea, there lies an island wrapped in mist, tradition, and time. Okinawa, a place where time doesn't rush, it flows, where people greet the day not with alarms, but with sunlight, green tea, and the rustling of banana leaves in the wind. Here, the air smells of salt and earth, and the people, they live longer than anyone else on Earth. Not just longer, but happier, healthier, lighter. They call it the island of longevity. But longevity is only the surface. The deeper magic is something the West is only just beginning to understand. It's not medicine. It's not genetics. It's not some miracle superfood. It's a way of life, a rhythm, a philosophy, a quiet force that gives each moment meaning, even in the smallest of routines. It's called Ikigai. In Okinawa, even the elders are alive with joy, not just existing, but thriving. Meet Misao-san. She's 103 years old. She still tends to her garden every morning. She laughs with her friends. She never retired from life. When asked her secret, she says, "I wake up to water my plants. I eat with my neighbors. I sing to the wind. That's enough reason to live." This is not productivity. This is presence. In the West, we chase longevity through supplements, routines, hacks. But here, they achieve it through connection, simplicity, and joy. They belong to tight-knit groups called moai, small circles of friends who check on each other daily, laugh together, eat together, grieve together. No one is left behind. No one grows old, alone. Their diets are humble, sweet potatoes, seaweed, tofu, green tea, and kindness. They follow Hara Hachibu, the principle of eating only until they're 80% full. Not full, just enough. Their homes are modest, their hearts immense. They move slowly, but they're never idle. They walk, they tend, they stretch, they laugh. Life from their grandparents, not through lectures, but by watching the way they live, the way they honor mornings with silence, the way they greet storms with patience, the way they accept aging with gratitude, not fear. They see old age, not as a decline, but as an art, a wisdom sculpted over time. So, what's the lesson? That Ikigai is not a goal you chase. It's a path you walk. It's in your morning rituals, your conversations, your acts of kindness that seem small, but mean the world. It's already there, waiting quietly, underneath the noise. In Okinawa, people don't ask, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" They ask, "What do you wake up for?" So, what about you? What makes you feel alive? Not what you're expected to do, not what earns praise or applause, but what makes your soul feel weightless, even if no one else sees it, even if it only makes sense to you, even if it's just planting a single seed, or sipping tea, or listening to this right now. That could be your first step toward Ikigai. As we continue this journey, we'll begin to unfold what Ikigai truly means, its components, its power, its peace. In the next chapter, we'll explore the 4 circles of purpose and how they form the map to your own reason for waking up. For now, breathe in deeply. Let this wisdom settle in you, like morning dew on the leaves. You're exactly where you need to be. Chapter 2, Understanding Ikigai, the 4 circles of purpose. Let's take a breath and center ourselves, because now we begin the quiet work of understanding. Ikigai is not a single word. It's not a quote for your wall or a trend to follow on a Monday morning. It's a philosophy, a lived experience, a quiet compass hidden within your soul. And like any compass, it points, it whispers, it waits. But to follow it, you must first understand its shape. Picture a soft sketch drawn in the sand. 4 circles, overlapping at the center. Simple, but profound. Each circle represents a part of you, a corner of your internal universe. And together, they create something more than just identity. They create Ikigai. Circle 1, what you love. Start with the first circle. It's the easiest to feel, but often the hardest to trust. It's what you love, not what you're good at, not what makes money, but what lights a spark in you when no one is watching, when there's no finish line, no score, just love, pure and untamed. Ask yourself, what makes you lose track of time? What did you love as a child before the world told you to grow up? What feels effortless, even when it's hard? It could be writing, it could be listening, it could be growing things in silence. This is the heartbeat of your Ikigai, but alone, it's just a pulse. To turn it into purpose, we need more. Circle 2, what you're good at. Now, draw the second circle, what you're good at, the skills, the talents, the abilities that make your hands steady and your mind clear. Sometimes, what you're good at is different from what you love, and that's okay. Ikigai lies in the space between. Ask yourself, what do people come to you for help with? What feels natural but powerful when you do it? What can you improve forever and never grow bored? It might be storytelling, problem solving, organizing chaos, making others feel safe. This circle adds strength to your passion. It gives structure to your heart. But there's still more. Circle 3, what the world needs. The third circle may be the most difficult and the most sacred. It's what the world needs, We don't exist in isolation. We are threads in a vast tapestry, each of us woven into the stories of others. Ikigai invites you to ask, how can I serve? How can I contribute? What breaks your heart when you see it? What kind of change do you dream of? What pain do you understand that you could help heal? Maybe the world needs more listeners, more healers, more people who remind others they matter. When what you love and what you're good at aligns with what the world needs, you begin to feel significant, not because you are praised, but because you are useful, meaningful. Still, we are not done. Circle 4, what you can be paid for. Now, we draw the fourth and final circle, what you can be paid for. Let's pause here, because money often feels like a shadow, too loud, too cold, too transactional. But Ikigai isn't anti-money. It simply sees money as a tool, not the destination. The question is not just, how can I make money? It's, how can I make money without losing my soul? Ask, can I sustain myself doing what I love? Can my skills provide value to someone else? Can I serve the world and be compensated without compromise? This circle brings sustainability. It allows your purpose to have legs, to grow, to last. And now, in the quiet center where all 4 circles meet, is Ikigai. Not a single passion, not a job title, not a one-size-fits-all answer, but a space of wholeness, a place where you do what you love, you do what you're good at, you do what the world needs, and you are paid for it, not just in money, but in joy. This is not instant. It takes time. It takes listening. It takes trust. But when you stand in the center of those 4 circles, even just for a moment, you'll feel it. A stillness, a pull, a reason. Your reason for waking up in the morning. In the next chapter, we'll begin building the foundation. With your first circle, what you love, we'll guide you through the stillness to rediscover the things that light your spirit. Because if your fire is dimmed, it doesn't mean it's gone out. It just means it's waiting, and we are here to remember. Chapter 3, Discovering What You Love, Following the Inner Spark. Let's begin this chapter with a question. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not just okay, not just functioning, but glowing, awake, light on your feet. That feeling, the tingling in your chest, the urge to move, to create, to simply be. That's the inner spark. That is where your Ikigai journey truly begins. But let's be honest, for many of us, that spark feels distant, buried beneath schedules, duties, expectations. We've been taught to be productive, to be useful, to chase success, but not always, to listen to our joy. So today, we pause, we listen, we remember. What do I love? The most sacred question. This is the first circle in your Ikigai, and in many ways, it is the purest. It's not about skills. It's not about money. It's not even about goals. It's simply about joy. Ask yourself, what makes me feel excited even if I'm tired? What feels like play, even when it's hard? What do I do that makes hours disappear? Don't rush. Don't edit. Just let the answers rise. Maybe you love telling stories, cooking without a recipe, walking in nature with no destination, helping a friend unravel their thoughts, building things from scratch, singing softly when no one's around. These are not hobbies. These are whispers from your soul. And they are never random. They are threads, pulling you back to who you've always been. A walk through memory lane. Sometimes, to discover what we love, we must look backward. Because your younger self knew joy before the world told you to So let's go back. Close your eyes. Picture yourself at 7 years old. Where were you? What were you doing when you felt happiest? Were you outside? Were you drawing? Were you pretending you were a superhero? Were you organizing your books in perfect rows? Now go to your teenage self. When did you feel most like you? What did you want before the world made you afraid of wanting too much? Sometimes the seed of what you love was planted long ago, and it's still growing, quietly, waiting for sunlight. The signs you're close. Here's how you know you found something you love. You forget to check your phone. You don't care if it's perfect. You feel peaceful, and oddly, you feel energized. It might not be what others expect. It might be quiet. It might even feel silly. But if your body softens, if your breath deepens, if your eyes brighten, you found something sacred, protected. Let go of judgment. Here's something important. You don't have to be good at what you love. That's not the point. Not yet. You can love writing and never publish a book. You can love music and never sell a song. You can love helping people and never make a career out of it. What matters first is that you allow yourself to love, fully, shamelessly, wildly. That's where your Ikigai begins. Now, let's take a moment. I want you to pause the video, or just close your eyes and reflect. Ask yourself, 1. What have I always been drawn to, even if I never pursued it seriously? 2. When do I feel most me? 3. If I could do one thing for hours with no reward, what would it be? 4. What did I love before I started worrying about being good enough? Write the answers down. Draw them. Whisper them. Just bring them out of hiding, because the act of remembering is the act of returning. Let me tell you a quiet story. There was once a man in his 40s. He worked in finance, good salary, good title, but something was hollow. Every morning, the only thing that made him smile was baking bread before work, the feel of the dough, the quiet of dawn, the smell of something becoming whole. He didn't think it mattered until he did. He started waking up earlier, started giving away loaves to neighbors, started experimenting, kneading, learning. Eventually, he left his job. He opened a small bakery. People came not just for bread, but for the peace in that space. Today, he says, I may never be rich, but I am no longer empty. That is Ikigai. Give yourself permission. You don't need a plan. You don't need a label. You don't need anyone's approval. You just need permission, your own permission, to follow joy. Your life doesn't have to be loud to be meaningful. Sometimes, Ikigai whispers, and you'll only hear it if you get quiet enough to listen. So here's your invitation. Tonight, light a candle, sit with yourself, ask gently, what do I love? Write without editing, draw without rules, remember without shame. Your Ikigai is not in the future, it's in your fingertips. It's already here, waiting. Chapter 4, Honing Your Skills, from Spark to Strength. You found something you love, a spark, a flicker of passion. Now what? The journey of Ikigai doesn't end at discovery. It deepens, it sharpens, because love alone is only the beginning. The next step is practice. Let's think of this like a garden. Your love, that's the seed. But to see it bloom, you must water it, nurture it, train it toward the light. And that's what skill is. Ikigai doesn't ask, what are you born good at? It asks, what do you love enough to become great at? We live in a world obsessed with talent, gifted kids, strategies, instant success. But Ikigai whispers a softer truth. It's not about how quickly you bloom. It's about whether you keep growing. And growth comes from practice. What skills are hidden in your joy? So ask yourself, what skills are already hiding in what you love? If you love storytelling, could you practice writing, public speaking, script writing, voiceover? If you love helping people, could you train in coaching, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence? If you love nature, could you learn herbal medicine, organic gardening, nature photography? Skills are the roots beneath your joy. They give it strength. They give it structure. They are how love becomes real, the zen of practice. In Okinawa, home to some of the world's longest living people, there's a word, nariwai. It means a livelihood that gives life, not just work, not just duty, but something you do every day, mindfully, gently, with devotion, like tea ceremony, or calligraphy, or tending bonsai trees. The goal is not to be famous. The goal is to be present. And in this presence, skill is born. Let me tell you about Keiko, a woman in her 60s in Kyoto. All her life, she worked in a bank, fast, sharp, efficient. But at home, she practiced calligraphy. At first, just 10 minutes a night, then an hour, then weekends, then always. She wasn't gifted. She didn't sell anything, but each stroke slowed her mind. Each curve brought her into the now. Today, her work is displayed in temples. She teaches children how to breathe through brushwork. She says, I didn't find a new job. I found a new self. That is Ikigai. The power of repetition. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is devotion. Each time you repeat a skill, you deepen your relationship with it. A musician doesn't play scales to impress. They do it to understand the music's bones, to feel the instrument as an extension of self. You don't become excellent by accident. You become excellent by caring enough to keep going. Skill is built, not found. Here's a truth no one tells us enough. No one starts out skilled. The writer's first pages are clumsy. The speaker's first speech is awkward. The artist's early sketches are full of erasures. The only difference between the one who can and the one who can't is that one of them kept showing up. So ask yourself, what do you love enough to be a beginner at? Because if you don't allow yourself to be bad at something, you'll never allow yourself to be great at it. Let's reflect together. Ask yourself, 1. What skill quietly flows beneath the thing I love? 2. What am I willing to practice, even when no one's watching? 3. What would I regret not improving 10 years from now? 4. How can I dedicate 30 minutes a day to honoring my craft? Small steps, gentle growth, that's how roots take hold. Don't wait for confidence. Build it. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. You don't start skilled. You start curious. You don't wait until you're ready. You begin, even if your hands shake. Every expert was once a nervous beginner who said, I'll try again tomorrow. That's it. That's the magic. Practical tip, the joyful practice routine. Here's a simple, soothing structure for skill building, the 30-30 rule. 30 minutes of focused, joyful practice. 30 seconds of reflection after ask. What felt natural? What felt frustrating? What felt surprisingly fun? Let your answers guide tomorrow's practice. This makes learning a conversation, not a chore. Your Ikigai is a muscle, not a miracle. The more you practice, the more integrated your skill becomes. Soon, it won't feel separate from you. The singer becomes song. The writer becomes voice. The gardener becomes season. This is the alchemy of Ikigai, and it starts with the humble act of showing up. Let this be your prayer. Let your practice become your peace. Let your skill become your sanctuary. Let your craft carry your soul. Remember, skill is how we honor what we love. It's how we say, this matters to me, so I'll give it my time, my hands, my care. That is how Ikigai takes root. That is how purpose becomes part of you. Chapter 5. What the world needs. The bridge between self and service. We've looked inward. We've discovered what brings us joy. We've begun honing our skills. But now, it's time to look outward. Because Ikigai is not just about you. It's about connection, contribution, community. The Japanese say, we live in the shelter of each other. And your purpose, it lives in how you serve the whole. The 4 circles revisited. Remember the 4 circles of Ikigai. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for. We've explored the first 2. Now we step into the 3rd. What does the world need? Looking beyond the self. This question can feel massive, unanswerable. What does the world need? But what if we asked instead, what does my community need? What breaks my heart? And how can I help heal it? Where does my joy meet the world's pain? Because Ikigai blooms at the intersection of your gift and someone else's need. A story from Okinawa, the weaver of Naha. There's an old woman in Naha, Okinawa. Every morning, she weaves cloth by hand. It takes hours to make just one scarf. She's done it for over 50 years. But when you ask her why, she smiles and says, because a warm neck is a kind thing. She gives most of her scarves away to children walking to school, to elders sitting alone at the bus stop. She's not trying to be famous. She's trying to be useful. And that is Ikigai. What are you already giving? Take a moment. Look around your life. What are you already offering? Do people come to you for comfort, for advice, for help fixing things? Do you uplift others without realizing it? So often, our impact hides in plain sight. We think service means grand gestures, but it's often the small daily offerings that ripple out the farthest. A smile, a listening ear, a meal, a well-timed message. These are gifts, and the world needs them. Your purpose might be waiting at the door. Imagine this. Someone knocks on your door. They need something only you can give. Would you answer? That knock might be a child needing your story, a neighbor needing your time, a stranger needing your wisdom. Ikigai teaches us, when you meet the world's need with your gift, you find meaning that lasts. Take a moment with yourself. Ask, 1, what injustice makes me feel restless? 2, whose suffering stirs my empathy? 3, what do I wish more people had that I can offer? 4, what fills me when I give it away? These answers point to your calling. They are the compass of contribution. Service doesn't have to be loud. You don't need a platform. You don't need an audience. You just need intention. A woman tending a rooftop garden for her neighbors. That's Ikigai. A man who writes poems for grieving friends. That's Ikigai. A teenager teaching coding to kids in his village. Yes, Ikigai. You don't have to save the whole world, but you can light a corner of it. Balancing joy and need. Let's be honest, not every need brings you joy. Not every request is your responsibility. So here's a better question. Where does my energy stay strong while helping others rise? That's your sweet spot. Don't burn out trying to be everything. Burn steadily, being something real. Ikigai as legacy one day. We all leave this life behind. But what we've given, that stays. The lessons we passed down, the comfort we shared, the strength we offered when others had none. Ikigai is not just about feeling good, it's about doing good. It's about leaving the world a little softer, a little wiser, a little more whole. So today, offer one small thing. It could be a sincere compliment, helping someone lift a heavy bag, writing a message to someone who's hurting, donating to a cause you care about. Start small, start real. Let service become part of your rhythm. Let it be a practice, not a performance. Remember, your gifts are not just for you. They are for us, all of us. And when you offer them with love, the world notices, even if it doesn't say so out loud. So listen to your joy, to your skill, to the whisper of what the world needs. Your Ikigai lives in the offering. In our next chapter, we'll explore the final circle, what you can be paid for, and how purpose meets prosperity. You won't want to miss it. Chapter 6, what you can be paid for, the path of purposeful earning. So far, we've looked at what lights you up inside, what you're naturally good at, and how you can serve the world. But now, let's talk about money. Yes, money, and what it means in your Ikigai, because purpose doesn't mean poverty. Money in the Ikigai model. Let's return to the 4 circles. 1, what you love. 2, what you're good at. 3, what the world needs. 4, what you can be paid for. This last one is often the most misunderstood. Some believe, if I follow my heart, I'll starve. Others fear, if I chase income, I'll lose my soul. But Ikigai is about balance, graceful harmony between doing good and doing well. It's about sustainable service. Purpose is not free. Let's be honest. Your bills won't pay themselves. Your family needs security. Your dreams need resources. Even monks in Japan, who live simply, rely on donations, food, and support to sustain their spiritual work. Money, when aligned with purpose, becomes fuel, not pollution. There was once a young calligraphy artist in Tokyo. Her work was breathtaking, elegant, ancient strokes meeting modern poetry. At first, she gave it all away. She feared charging would corrupt her art. But over time, she burned out. She couldn't afford ink or food. One day, an elder mentor said, "You serve the world through your ink, but how will the ink flow if the well runs dry?" So she began charging fairly. And with that simple shift, her art became her livelihood. She didn't sell her soul, she funded her freedom. That is Ikigai in motion, earning with integrity. So, how do you get paid without compromising your values? Here's a simple formula. Skill plus service plus value equals income. Ask yourself, what am I excellent at? Who needs this? What problem am I solving? How is my solution unique? People will pay for. Transformation, convenience, peace of mind, joy, your job. Position your gift as a solution. That's not greed, that's clarity. Ikigai versus hustle culture. Ikigai is not hustle culture. It's not about grinding 80 hours a week chasing passive income. Instead, it's about intentional creation, slow growth, meaningful monetization. It doesn't shout, more, more, more. It whispers, enough, sustainably. Where to begin? Your monetization compass. If you're wondering how to get started, try this framework. 1, identify a skill you love using. 2, find a community that values it. 3, package it in a way that solves a problem. 4, price it based on the outcome, not the effort. For example, if you love writing and people need better resumes, offer resume design with storytelling. If you love baking and your town lacks healthy snacks, start a small weekend pop-up. Start small, test, listen, iterate. This is Ikigai entrepreneurship. Being paid is not selfish. Let's clear a myth. Being paid does not make your purpose less pure. On the contrary, it allows you to do more of it. A paid teacher can teach more students. A paid healer can train apprentices. A paid artist can reach new hearts. Money expands your message. Don't be afraid of it. Learn to honor it. Let's pause. Ask yourself, 1. What do people ask me for again and again? 2. Have I ever offered something valuable for free that people would have paid for? 3. What would I do for free that I could charge for ethically? Write these down, because this is your bridge from passion to prosperity. Fair exchange, not exploitation. Ikigai earning means you charge with transparency, you deliver with heart, you honor your limits, you celebrate every transaction as an energy exchange you're not taking. You're trading value. That's empowerment, not exploitation. The goal, financial peace. Ultimately, Ikigai is not about becoming a millionaire. It's about becoming free to work how you want, live where you feel alive, support your loved ones, wake up with joy, not dread. That's what getting paid through purpose gives you. Financial peace, time freedom, alignment. And when you're aligned, your energy becomes magnetic. The world doesn't just need your light, it needs your sustainable flame. Let money be the wood beneath the fire, not the fire itself. Your Ikigai isn't complete until it supports your life as much as it enriches others. So go ahead. Get paid for your gift. Honor your craft. Value your worth. Because a life of impact and income is not only possible, it's beautiful. Chapter 7. Finding your Ikigai, where the 4 paths meet. Now, we bring it all together. You've explored what you love. You've uncovered what you're good at. You've reflected on what the world needs. And you've considered what you can be paid for. Now it's time to step into the center of the Ikigai diagram. This is where it all aligns. This is the sweet spot, the quiet harmony between passion, mission, vocation, and profession. This is your Ikigai. The 4 paths converge. Imagine 4 rivers: love, skill, service, sustainability. They flow from different directions, carrying your values, your experiences, your deepest longings. And then they converge into a luminous lake of purpose. That center, where all 4 meet, is where your life feels meaningful and sustainable. You don't just survive there. You don't just succeed. You feel alive. Why balance is key. Some people chase what they love, but struggle to pay the bills. Others master a skill and earn well, but feel hollow inside. Some serve others endlessly, but neglect themselves. And some feel stuck in jobs that pay, but don't nourish their soul. Ikigai is the antidote to imbalance. It says, you don't have to choose one path. You can weave them together, slowly, gently, into a life of alignment. A life that's not just successful, but significant. Finding your Ikigai. So, how do you actually find that center? Let's break it down. You've got 4 circles, 4 categories. You've reflected on them in earlier chapters. Now, let's intersect them. The Ikigai mapping exercise. Take out a piece of paper or open a blank note. draw 4 headings. 1. What I love. 2. What I'm good at. 3. What the world needs. 4. What I can be paid for now. Under each, list what comes to mind. Be honest. Don't overthink. Don't try to be perfect. Then look for overlaps. Are there items that show up in more than one list? For example, you love writing. You're good at communication. The world needs education. You could be paid to teach online. That's a potential ikigai. Keep looking. Patterns will begin to emerge. Little sparks, golden threads. Follow them. The Ikigai flow is a journey. Now hear this. Ikigai isn't a destination. It's not a one-time aha moment where everything clicks forever. No, it's more like a compass, a quiet direction. Some people discover their Ikigai early. Others unfold it over decades. Some live it daily in simple routines. Others channel it into massive missions. And that's okay. Ikigai is not found, it's grown. Like a garden, it requires tending. Like a song, it evolves as you do. Ikigai is slow. In our world of fast fame and instant success, Ikigai whispers, go slow, go deep, go true. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to prove it. You just need to keep listening. If you're seeking your Ikigai, you're already on the path, because the seeking is part of the becoming. A real-life glimpse, Daniel's path. Let's meet Daniel. Daniel was a corporate consultant, brilliant, well-paid, and utterly empty. At 34, he quit. He loved storytelling. He was good at simplifying ideas. He noticed the world needed mental wellness content. And yes, people were willing to pay for good educators online. He began creating slow, thoughtful videos. Tiny at first. Then, they began to grow. Today, Daniel teaches emotional intelligence through digital storytelling. He makes less than before, but lives so much more. And he says this often. My Ikigai isn't just what I do. It's how I wake up. Signs you're living in your Ikigai. How do you know if you found it? Here are a few signs. You lose track of time doing your work. You feel excited in the morning, even if the day is hard. Your work gives something back to the world. You feel like you're becoming more of who you truly are. If this isn't your current life, don't despair. You're not behind. You're becoming. Just keep adjusting the sails. Take a breath. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. A life where you love what you do. You're good at it. It makes a difference. And it supports your life. That is not a fantasy. That is your potential. And each tiny step you take toward that alignment matters. So keep walking. Ikigai doesn't demand perfection. It asks for presence, curiosity, and a commitment to live on purpose. You're already on your way. Chapter 8. Ikigai in Okinawa. Longevity, joy, and simplicity. Welcome to Okinawa, a string of islands in the southernmost part of Japan, kissed by the sea, cradled in green hills, and alive with wisdom. Here, time moves differently. Not slower, but softer, more intentional, more alive. And here, perhaps more than anywhere on Earth, the spirit of Ikigai lives and breathes. The land of the longest-lived people, Okinawa is home to one of the world's highest concentrations of centenarians, people who live beyond 100 years, with vitality, grace, and joy. It's called Ikigai. Morning in Okinawa. Picture this. The sun rises over the misty hills. 89-year-old Misaki steps outside, barefoot in her tiny garden. She touches the soil with reverence. She smiles at her sweet potatoes, whispers good morning to the sunflowers, then picks a few herbs for breakfast. Not out of necessity, but ritual. Her day begins not with urgency, but with intention. Ikigai as a way of living. In Okinawa, Ikigai isn't a buzzword. It's woven into daily life, quietly, gracefully. For some, it's their grandchildren. For others, their morning walks. For many, it's tending their garden, or preparing the day's tofu, or practicing karaoke with friends. Their Ikigai isn't epic. It's not about chasing dreams or building empires. It's about waking up and knowing why. The power of small joys. It's the little things, says Hiroshi, age 103. Feeding the koi fish, folding my laundry just right, watching the rain. He laughs. People think happiness is big, but Ikigai is small, every day, every breath. In Okinawa, they call this Ichiriba Choda. Once we meet, we are family. Community is not optional here. It's a lifeline. It's part of their Ikigai. They belong, and they know they belong. Moai, the circle of life. One of Okinawa's most beautiful traditions is called Moai. It's a small group of lifelong friends who support one another emotionally, socially, and even financially for life. They meet regularly, they eat together, they laugh, cry, dance, play games, and grow old together. Imagine that, never aging alone. Imagine knowing you'll always have someone who shows up for you, even at 93. This is Ikigai through connection. The Ikigai diet. Yes, food plays a part too. The Okinawan diet is plant-rich, colorful, and light. Sweet potatoes, tofu, seaweed, green tea, bitter melon. But perhaps more important than what they eat is how they eat. They follow Harahachi-bu, a Confucian principle meaning eat until you are 80% full. No overindulgence, no rush. Just gratitude, mindfulness, and moderation. Every meal is a celebration of life. Every bite, an offering of thanks. Words that shape the soul. Language shapes thought. And Okinawan language contains beautiful phrases that reinforce their values. Nankuru Naisa, don't worry, it'll all work out. Yuimaru, connectedness and cooperation. Chimukukuru, a warm heart, a deep sense of empathy. They don't just say these things, they live them. A story from Okimi. Let me tell you about Oshimi Village, nicknamed the Village of Longevity. A reporter once visited and asked a 101-year-old woman, "What's your secret?" She giggled and said, "I sing every morning. I pull weeds. I gossip with my friends. I say thank you to the clouds. Then I eat purple sweet potato. That's all. No hustle, no rush, no pressure to become something. Just a rhythm of life. Simple, sacred, sustained." What we can learn now. Maybe you don't live in a peaceful village by the sea. Maybe your life feels louder, faster, more complicated. That's okay, because Ikigai is not a place, it's a practice. You can carry Okinawa in your heart. You can adopt its rhythms in small, sacred ways. Start your morning with silence. Call a friend without agenda. Plant something and tend to it. Cook with presence. yourself, what is one gentle ritual I can bring into my day to honor my being alive? Is it a morning tea, a 10-minute walk, a loving message, a quiet pause before sleep? Don't underestimate it. That tiny act may be your Ikigai whispering. And when you begin to listen, your life begins to bloom. Okinawa teaches us that Ikigai isn't rare. It's always there, underneath the noise, beneath the rush, beyond the fear. It lives in the warmth of a shared meal, the light in your grandparents' eyes, the joy of giving, expecting nothing back, the sacredness of folding clothes with care. Ikigai is the art of being gently, fully alive. Not someday, today. Chapter 9. Overcoming obstacles to your Ikigai. Let's be honest. We all love the idea of purpose, of waking up each day with meaning, clarity, and joy. But what about the days when it's hard to get out of bed? What about the moments when life feels too heavy, too uncertain, too painful? That's when we need Ikigai the most. And yet, that's also when it feels the farthest away. The fog between you and purpose. You might know this feeling. A quiet sense of lostness. A job that doesn't light you up anymore. A relationship that's drifting. A dream that now feels distant or impossible. You might be asking yourself, is something wrong with me? Why don't I feel lit up by anything anymore? But here's the truth. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just in the fog, and everyone enters it at some point, even the people who found their Ikigai. Step 1. Name what's blocking you. Let's bring compassion into the room. Instead of asking, why don't I feel purpose? Ask, what's standing between me and my purpose? It might be burnout, your soul asking for rest, fear of failure, of judgment, of change, perfectionism, the voice that says, don't even start unless it's perfect, comparison, constantly measuring your worth against others, disconnection from nature, from people, from your own inner voice. Pause here. Which one feels true for you? Breathe into it. Don't resist it. Awareness is the first light that breaks the fog. Step 2. Redefine Ikigai as a process. So many of us chase Ikigai like it's a finish line, but it's not. Ikigai is not a destination. It's a relationship. And like all meaningful relationships, it takes nurturing, patience, and presence. Let go of the need to figure it all out. Instead, ask, what small thing today would make me feel a little more alive? Sometimes your Ikigai is just a next right step. Step 3. Address the inner critic. Let's meet the voice inside that whispers, you're not good enough. You're too late. No one will care. Sound familiar? That voice isn't your truth. It's your fear, dressed in logic. It's your wound, trying to protect itself. It's your ego, scared of failure. But you can talk to that voice. You can say, thank you for trying to protect me, but I'm still going to follow what lights me up. That simple shift can unlock your courage, and Ikigai waits on the other side of courage. Step 4. When life breaks you open. Sometimes the obstacle isn't self-doubt. Sometimes it's grief, loss, illness, heartbreak, failure. In those moments, it's okay to feel broken, but remember, cracks are where the light gets in. And many people find their truest Ikigai after they've lost something. Your pain doesn't disqualify you. It might just prepare you. Let me tell you about Aya, a woman from Tokyo. she lost her husband unexpectedly in her early 40s. For months, she couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't find a reason to keep going. But one day, she stepped outside and noticed weeds choking the small garden they once tended together. Without thinking, she picked up the shears. One clip, then another, then another. She did it again the next day, and the next. Weeks turned to months. Flowers bloomed again. So did her breath. Today, she runs a community garden for widows and calls it her Ikigai. Her purpose wasn't to avoid pain. It was to grow through it. Journal with me. Take a quiet breath, grab a journal, or just sit with this thought. What am I afraid of that might be blocking me from living my Ikigai? Don't judge your answer. Just listen, then ask, what's one gentle step I can take to begin again? Remember, tiny steps are sacred. Even brushing your hair with care can be a ritual of worthiness. Step 5. Anchor into small purpose. When you feel far from your big Ikigai, come back to tiny Ikigais. Your purpose today might be sending a loving text, preparing a nourishing meal, smiling at someone who looks lonely, creating something without needing it to go viral, resting your body because you are worth rest. These are not distractions from purpose. They are purpose. Purpose is not always fire. Sometimes it's a flickering candle, and that light still counts. Dear listener, if you are struggling right now, let this truth find you. You are not broken. You are becoming. Your Ikigai hasn't left you. It's just waiting, quietly, behind the fear, beneath the noise, beyond the perfectionism. And when you show up, even with shaky hands and a tender heart, Ikigai reaches back. Keep going, because the path through your obstacles might be the very road that leads you home. Chapter 10. Work that feeds the soul. Turning passion into profession. Let's talk about something most of us wrestle with at some point in our lives. Work, jobs, careers, making a living. And most importantly, how do we earn a living without losing our soul? It's a big question, but one that lies at the very center of Ikigai. The intersection, what you're good at, plus what you can be paid for. Let's return to our Ikigai diagram. You remember the 4 circles. What you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for. This chapter lives right at the crossroads of what you're good at, what you can be paid for. The truth is, not every passion becomes a profession, and not every job feels like a calling. But somewhere in the middle is work that doesn't just pay the bills, it feeds your soul. Keep the myth of follow your passion. You've probably heard it before. Just follow your passion and the money will come. It sounds lovely, but it's also dangerous advice, because passion alone doesn't guarantee sustainability. You can love painting, but if you don't build the skills to market or sell your art, you might burn out. You can love helping people, but without structure or boundaries, you may drain yourself dry. So instead of just following passion, let's ask a better question. How can I align my passion with my skill and shape it into service the world values? That is where the magic begins. Step 1. Turn skill into craft. Ikigai isn't about wishful thinking. It's about craftsmanship. The Japanese have a word for it. Shokunin, shiren. A master of their trade. Not just technically skilled, but spiritually invested. Whether it's a carpenter, a sushi chef, or a barista making your morning latte, they bring presence into every movement. That is Ikigai in action. So, ask yourself, what do I already do well? What comes naturally to me that others struggle with? What skills could I sharpen to stand out? Your starting point might be closer than you think. Step 2. From side passion to professional path. Imagine this. You love writing. You start a blog. You write once a week, then once a day. You experiment with topics, with tone. One post goes viral. You start freelancing, then coaching others. Eventually, it becomes your full-time life. That is how many Ikigai journeys begin. Not with a leap, but with a small, steady tilt toward joy. So instead of quitting your job tomorrow, start building your bridge. Give your passion structure. Give it systems. Give it a path to income. It could be a YouTube channel, a digital product, a small business, a coaching service, a freelance offering, a niche blog, podcast, or newsletter. Start small, start messy, but start. A real story. Malik's quiet leap. Malik worked a 9-to-5 in IT. Good money, safe job. But each evening, he found himself drawing in a notebook, sketching buildings, tiny homes, dream spaces. His passion, architectural design. So, he started sharing his sketches on Instagram. He built a tiny audience, took a few client requests, started selling digital templates. 3 years later, he owns a boutique home design brand. Small, intentional, profitable. He didn't jump. He built a quiet runway and then took off. That's how Ikigai works. Not dramatic, just deeply aligned. Avoiding the 2 common traps, one selling out. Turning your passion too fast into a hustle, losing the love solution. Protect sacred space. Keep some of your craft unmonetized. 2. Staying safe forever. Waiting too long. Never taking the risk. Solution. Progressively test your idea. See what gets traction before leaping. Balance passion with strategy. Heart with head. Joy with judgment. This is how Ikigai becomes sustainable. Step 3. Add real value. You want to turn your passion into a profession. Here's the golden rule. Serve first. Solve a problem. Help someone. Value comes from understanding your audience. What do they need? How can your skills meet that need? For example, if you love cooking, teach easy meals for busy people. If you love writing, help brands find their voice. If you love gardening, offer eco-friendly kits for apartment dwellers. Your Ikigai isn't just what you want to give. It's what others deeply need and are willing to pay for. That's where passion becomes profession. Step 4. Reimagine your relationship with money. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Money. In the Ikigai model, money isn't the goal, but it matters. You deserve to be fairly paid for your time, energy, and skill. So ask, what does abundance look like for me? How much do I need to live comfortably and creatively? Am I underpricing my gifts out of fear or guilt? You can be spiritual and strategic, heart-led and high income. The 2 are not enemies. They are allies when guided by alignment. If you take one thing from this chapter, let it be this. You don't have to suffer for your paycheck. You can do what you love and live well, not overnight, not without effort, but gradually, with clarity skills you love. Sharpen them, shape them, share them, and watch how the world responds. What work am I doing now that drains me? What work would I do even if no one paid me? What's one step I can take to make that work more sustainable? Write, reflect, reconnect. Because the work of your hands can be the mirror of your soul. And in that sacred mirror, you just might meet your Ikigai. Chapter 11. Flow and Presence, the joy of being fully immersed. There's a state of being where time dissolves, where the mind quiets, where effort becomes joy and presence becomes power. This state is called flow, and in the journey of Ikigai, flow is not a luxury, it's a compass. What is flow? Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called it a state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. In other words, you lose yourself in the best way possible. Have you ever forgotten to check your phone for hours while painting? Sat down to write, then suddenly realized it's dark outside. Played an instrument and felt like it was playing through you. That's flow. It's not about zoning out. It's about zoning in, deeply, intensely, joyfully. Science of flow. Neuroscience shows that during flow, your prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-doubt and time awareness, temporarily quiets down. Your brain releases dopamine, endorphins, and anandamide, chemicals associated with motivation, pleasure, and even bliss. Your performance increases. So does your creativity. It's no wonder elite athletes, writers, musicians, even coders chase this state. Because in flow, you don't just work, you become the work. Flow plus Ikigai, the deep connection. So where does flow meet Ikigai? Simple. Flow often arises when you're doing something you love, something you're good at, and something that challenges you just enough. Not too easy, not too hard. Just at the edge of your skill level, where growth happens. This is the sweet spot. The moment you're not thinking about life, because you're living it fully. Real-life flow stories. Let's explore a few. Yuki, the calligraphy artist. Yuki, from Kyoto, practices shodo, Japanese calligraphy. Every morning, before sunrise, she sits in silence, dips her brush in ink, and lets the strokes flow. No phones, no distractions, just movement and breath. In those moments, she says, I disappear. Only the brush remains. Jamal, the marathon runner. Jamal isn't a pro athlete. He's a school teacher. But every morning at 5 a.m., he runs. Not for speed, not for competition, but for that moment around mile 3, when his breath sinks with his steps, and his mind goes quiet. It's the only time I feel completely here, he whispers. That's flow, and that is Ikigai. How to find your flow. Ready to explore flow in your life? Here's a simple guide. 1. Choose a clear goal. Flow thrives when your mind has direction. Whether it's write 500 words, learn one new song, run 2 miles without stopping. Clarity reduces resistance. It focuses the mind. 2. Minimize distractions. This might mean turning off your phone, putting on noise-canceling headphones, creating a physical ritual before starting, like lighting a candle or doing 3 deep breaths. Flow needs space. Protect it. 3. Find the edge of difficulty. If something is too easy, you get bored. If it's too hard, you get frustrated. But when it's just hard enough to stretch you, that's where flow lives. Ask, what activity makes time fly for me, but still challenges me? That's your doorway. Flow is not always loud. Here's something we forget in the hustle culture. Flow doesn't always look like doing more. Sometimes it's found in the slow moments. Arranging flowers in a vase, cooking a meal from scratch, sweeping your room with care, meditating with soft music. These aren't tasks, they're portals to presence. And in that presence, you connect to something deeper. You connect to yourself. What blocks flow? Let's be honest. There are days when we want to be present, but just can't. Here are the most common flow killers. 1. Multitasking. You can't be in 2 places at once, not mentally. 2. Perfectionism. Flow requires freedom, not fear. 3. Overwhelm. Too many open loops keep your brain stuck in survival mode. So what's the antidote? Single tasking. Self-compassion. Setting up your environment like a sacred space. Because flow isn't just about what you do, it's about how you do it. Flow equals feedback loop of joy. Here's the beautiful truth. The more often you enter flow, the more motivated you feel, the better you get, the more confidence you build, the deeper your Ikigai becomes. It's a loop of meaning, a cycle of joyful momentum. And once you start recognizing it, you'll start craving it. Because in flow, you feel alive, not chasing life, not watching from the sidelines, but living it, minute by minute, breath by breath. Take a moment, slow down, breathe. Now, ask yourself, what activity makes me forget to check the time? When do I feel fully absorbed, yet at ease? What blocks are stopping me from feeling flow right now? And how can I shift them? Write, reflect, don't rush. Flow isn't something you find. It's something you fall into when you finally let go. Embracing minimalism for clarity and joy. Imagine this. You walk into a room. It's quiet. The air feels light. There's space and stillness. Just a few things around you, but each one has a purpose. Nothing is shouting for your attention, and you feel peaceful. That's the power of simplicity. In the journey of Ikigai, simplicity isn't just an aesthetic. It's a spiritual compass. It clears the noise, so you can finally hear your inner voice. The weight of too much in today's world. We are constantly told, more is better. Bigger is success. Full schedules mean you're productive. Clutter is normal. But here's the truth. Everything you own also owns a piece of your attention. Every extra item on your shelf. Every open tab in your browser. Every task you said yes to when you wanted to say no. They drain you, not loudly, but silently. 1,000 whispers pulling at your focus, your energy, your peace. Ikigai and the quiet power of less Ikigai at its heart is about doing what brings deep, soul-level joy. But joy needs space to breathe. And so, minimalism becomes more than a design choice. It becomes a way of returning to what matters. Japanese simplicity. Beauty in less Japan has long embraced the art of simplicity. From the concept of wabi-sabi, the beauty in imperfection and transience, to Zen Buddhism, which teaches us to clear the mind by clearing the environment. A traditional Japanese room might contain a single scroll with calligraphy, a small tatami mat, a simple flower arrangement, nothing more. And yet, it feels full, full of meaning, full of space to exist. Story time, the empty teacup. There's a Zen story. A student came to a master seeking wisdom. As the master poured tea into the student's cup, it began to overflow. The student cried, "It's full. No more will go in." The master smiled. "Like this cup," he said, "you are full of your own opinions and clutter. Before I can teach you, you must first empty your cup. Minimalism is emptying your cup, so your soul has room to fill." Now, minimalism doesn't mean throwing away everything, living in an empty white box, owning only 10 items. It means removing what's unnecessary so what's important can shine. Ask yourself, do I love this? Do I use this? Does this support the life I'm trying to build? If not, let it go. Because every time you say no to clutter, you say yes to peace. Simplicity isn't just about stuff, it's about time. Do you really need 10 commitments this week? People. Who lifts your energy? Who drains it? Thoughts. Which thoughts do you feed every day? You can clean your room, but sometimes it's your mind that needs tidying. The 3-layered simplicity of Ikigai. To live simply with Ikigai, try this. 1. Simplify your environment. 1 cozy chair by the window. A desk with only the tools you need. A wardrobe of clothes you love. When your space breathes, so do you. 2. Simplify your schedule. Don't chase productivity for its own sake. Prioritize deep work, meaningful rest, and quiet time. Remember, saying no is a powerful act of self-respect. 3. Simplify your goals. You don't need 100 dreams. Sometimes 1 clear purpose is enough. Let go of the pressure to do it all. Do what matters, deeply. Minimalism equals freedom. When you strip away the noise, what's left is clarity. You stop performing. You start living. You stop comparing. You start noticing. You stop racing. You start breathing. That's when you realize peace was never somewhere to get to. It was always waiting underneath the noise. Meet Reina, the slow-living ceramicist. Reina lives in a small town near the mountains. She makes pottery, no emails, no frantic deadlines, just clay, her hands, and the hum of birds outside her window. Each bowl she creates is slightly uneven, a little rough, but soulful. My Ikigai, she says, is in creating things slowly, simply, lovingly. And guess what? She's never been happier. Your simplicity practice starts today. Here's your gentle invitation. Tonight, pick 1 drawer, 1 habit, 1 thought, and let it go. Tomorrow, pick another. Each release is a return to you. Because the real gift of simplicity isn't emptiness, it's clarity, focus, freedom, and finally, joy. Chapter 13. Finding joy in the small things, the art of mindful appreciation. Let's begin with a question. When was the last time you noticed the sound of birds in the morning? The way sunlight touches your pillow at dawn? The gentle aroma of your first cup of tea? Not just saw them, but truly felt them. In the modern world, we've grown used to chasing the big things. Big wins, big dreams, big moments. But in the world of Ikigai, happiness is often found in the tiny, ordinary, blinking and you miss it moments. Because it's not the grand that fills your soul, it's the genuine. The beauty of the present. The Japanese have a word for this deep appreciation of the now. Ichigo Ichi. It means one time, one meeting. A reminder that every moment is unique. It will never return again, just like this one. That cup of coffee. It will never taste quite like this again. That walk through the park. Those exact leaves, that exact wind, gone forever. This moment, unrepeatable. And once you start living like that, everything becomes a miracle. The science behind small joys. Did you know that our brains are wired to become desensitized to good things over time? It's called hedonic adaptation. You buy something new, you love it. A few weeks later, you barely notice it. But when you train your mind to notice the small pleasures, you're rewiring your brain for sustained happiness. Things like the feel of warm socks on a cold floor, the sound of pages turning in a book, the moment your pet curls up beside you. These micro moments act like emotional vitamins. They're small, but they build emotional resilience. Tea ceremony, ritualizing joy. In Japanese culture, one of the most profound practices of mindful appreciation is the tea ceremony. At first glance, it seems simple. You prepare tea, you pour tea, you drink tea. But here's what's really happening. Every motion is deliberate. Every sound is honored. Every sip is sacred. It's not just about drinking tea. It's about being fully present. Imagine if you treated your daily routines the same way, making them ceremonies of calm. Story time. The Old Man and the Flower. There's a story of an old man in Kyoto. Every morning, he walks to a tiny garden and stares at a single flower. Just one. He doesn't pick it. He doesn't photograph it. He just watches. Someone once asked him, "Why do you do this every day?" He smiled gently and said, "Because every morning it blooms differently. And every morning I remember I'm still alive." Practicing the art of small joys. You don't need hours of free time. You don't need exotic destinations. You don't need the perfect morning routine. You need presence. Here are some practices to invite mindful appreciation into your daily life. 1. The 5 senses gratitude once a day. Pause and ask, what do I see that's beautiful? What do I hear that's soothing? What do I smell that's comforting? What do I taste that delights me? What do I feel that grounds me? This simple act reconnects you to the richness of life. 2. Micro-journal the magic. Each night, write down one small joy from your day. A kind smile, the way your blanket hugged you, a sentence in a book that made you pause. These tiny treasures create a powerful emotional bank. 3. Pause before the first bite. Next time you eat, pause. Look at your food. Smell it. Notice the texture. This 1-second pause turns consumption into communion. Why this matters for Ikigai. Ikigai doesn't demand you change your life overnight. It asks you to change how you see your life. By embracing small joys, you begin to realize you are already surrounded by blessings. You are already living pieces of your purpose. You are already enough, and in those tiny sparks of joy, your Ikigai begins to glow. Before we end, life moves fast, but you don't have to. You can walk slowly, notice deeply, appreciate richly, because the joy you seek isn't far away. It's already here, in this breath, in this blink, in you. Chapter 14. Interconnection and community, the collective side of Ikigai. We often imagine Ikigai as a personal journey, something quiet, internal, like a whisper from your soul. But in Japan, especially in places like Okinawa, Ikigai is not just about the self. It's about the WE. It's about interconnection. And today, we explore how community shapes our sense of purpose, how being part of something greater can be the very reason we wake up in the morning. The power of community in longevity. In Okinawa, Japan, home to one of the largest populations of people who live to be over 100 years old, researchers found something surprising. Yes, they ate well. Yes, they moved their bodies. Yes, they had Ikigai. But what truly stood out was community. People didn't grow old alone. They grew old together. What is a moai? One of the most beautiful traditions in Okinawa is the moai. A moai is a small group of friends who commit to supporting each other, emotionally, socially, even financially, for life. Imagine a group of 5 or 6 people who meet regularly, share meals, talk about life, help in times of crisis, celebrate small wins, and grow old, side by side. It's like having a second family, a circle of care. And research shows that people in moai live longer, are less stressed, and are profoundly happier. Why connection fuels Ikigai? Let's be honest. Even when you know your passion, even when you wake up with purpose, there will be days when you're tired, days when you doubt yourself, days when the world feels heavy. On those days, it's not your goals that carry you, it's your people. Purpose becomes stronger when it's shared. We are social beings, hardwired to belong, to matter to someone else, to be seen, not just for what we do, but for who we are. The science, relationships, and health studies from Harvard's 80-year-long research on happiness revealed the single biggest predictor of a long and happy life is not money, is not fame, is not even health in early life. It's the quality of your relationships. People who felt connected lived longer. They had lower rates of depression, better memory, stronger immunity, and a deeper sense of meaning. In a small Japanese coastal village, there's a fisherman named Hiro. He's been fishing for over 50 years, but he doesn't talk about fish when you ask about his purpose. He talks about feeding his village, chatting with the other old men at the harbor, teaching his grandson to tie a fishing knot. His Ikigai is not fishing. His Ikigai is being needed, being loved, belonging. Interdependence, not independence. In many Western cultures, we celebrate independence. But in the Japanese approach to Ikigai, it's not about standing alone. It's about interdependence, the quiet power of relying on each other, not as a weakness, but as a form of collective strength. Practices to build your moai-like community. So, how can you build this kind of soulful connection, even if you don't live in a small Japanese village? Let's explore. 1. Identify your inner circle. List 3 to 5 people who make you feel safe, accept you fully, encourage your growth, show up, even when it's hard. These are your moai candidates. Cherish them. 2. Create rituals. Purpose thrives in consistency. Weekly dinners, monthly hikes, evening tea calls. Keep it simple. Keep it real. 3. Be the first to open up. see you. Collective Ikigai in action. Ikigai isn't just about what you love. It's about how your love connects to others. A teacher's Ikigai lives in their students. A gardener's Ikigai feeds their neighbors. A dancer's Ikigai lifts the spirits of strangers. Purpose expands when it's given away, and in giving, you receive even more. Before we close, ask yourself, who in your life do you laugh with, cry with, dream with? Who makes you feel like, this moment matters, I matter? Cherish those people, invest in them, grow with them, because in the sacred space of community, your Ikigai becomes unshakable. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. You've just traveled through a journey that began in the hills of Okinawa and ended within you, because that's where Ikigai lives, not in some far-off ideal, not in a perfect plan, but in the small, sacred rhythm of your everyday life. Your life is already whispering to you. Maybe you heard it today, in the pause between distractions, in the longing that stirred inside your chest. Or maybe, for the first time in a long time, you remembered, I am here and I matter. That is the beginning of Ikigai. You don't need to have it all figured out. Let this be clear. Ikigai is not a finish line. It's not something you chase. It's something you cultivate. In every cup of tea you drink slowly. In every conversation you show up for fully. In every morning you choose to begin again. You are a work of art in progress. There will be days when you feel lost. Days when you wonder if any of this is working. That's okay. Even the oldest trees sway in the wind. Even the strongest lights flicker. But still, they stand, and still, they shine. So will you. Let's remember the path we walked. You've learned that purpose is not something grand. It's something gentle. That your passion, your skills, your service, and your livelihood can come together. That connection matters. That growth comes from curiosity. That a meaningful life is one designed with intention. And above all, that your life, exactly as it is, holds the seeds of something extraordinary. The world needs your light. You don't need to be anyone else. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to start. Right now. Today. Light one candle. Take one small step. Follow the pull inside your heart. That's where your Ikigai lives. And it's been waiting for you. All along. Final words. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of a life worth waking up to. May you live with presence. May you walk with purpose. May you always remember you are here for a reason, and the world is better because you're in it. Thank you for walking this path with me. This is your story now. Go write it.